All right, what is going on? I'm super excited with this video. I've been trying to give you guys a little bit more value, a little bit more content that really goes into increasing testosterone and what I do to actually increase the guys that I work with quickly, right? Because we don't want to slowly increase this. We want to quickly do it, deal with the side effects, and then just live life and optimize everything, right? So I'm super excited. What I'm going to do today is really just go over a little presentation, little board that I put together that essentially shows why doing hard work is good, but doing smart work is way better, right? So let's get into it. We're going to be looking at why doing more is the reason that you're falling behind. So I'm looking at my iPad right here, got the board up, screen recording, filming over here, and I'm just going to explain why doing more is the reason you're falling behind, the proof behind it, the myths behind it, the costs behind it, the problems behind it, and just overall why doing smart work is better than hard work, right? Before I get into it, let's really break down why doing more is the reason that you're falling behind, right? Because everyone thinks, oh, if I do more cardio, oh, if I lift more, if I eat less, right? Because in the dieting sense, eating less in your head is doing more. Oh, if I eat like nothing, I'm going to get results way faster. That's couldn't be more far from the truth. The truth is, to really begin optimizing your entire life, your entire transformation to putting on muscle, to losing fat, right? Because this is literally what I do day in, day out. Like, I figure out these problems and make sure that every single person and every single guy that I'm working with gets through any obstacle and any problem that they may have. So like I said, it's a myth that people think doing more is actually going to create more results. It's not. If you started to cut and you were going down, let's say 40 pounds, right? If you just lost 10 pounds because you did 1 hour of cardio, where are you going to go after that? Are you going to do 90 minutes of cardio, 2 hours of cardio, 3 hours of cardio? It's not sustainable, right? And a transformation is all about sustainability. And the same thing goes with working out. Oh, I'm going to work out 6 days a week, 7 days a week. Yeah, well, what's going to happen? You're going to bury yourself. Your CNS is going to be overloaded. You're going to carry a ton of fatigue, and you're eventually just going to get so buried that you're not going to be making any progress whatsoever, and you might actually lose muscle because of it. So what I'm going to break down here is just a little system that I use and a little breakdown that I use with guys that actually sign up with me, that actually dedicate themselves to transforming, and it always becomes the best decision that they've ever made. I've directly increased the testosterone of over 50 guys. We're going to get into why more is not better and why it's a myth that doing more is a better thing, right? Because that's what everybody thinks. Oh, if I work harder, I'm going to get better results. Oh, if I work less, I'm going to lose the progress I had. Couldn't be further from the truth, right? So work more, train harder, add more habits, consume more content. That's what everyone thinks, right? So let me escalate my effort by working more, training harder, adding more habits, and consuming more content, right? So what does that lead to? That leads to a false feedback loop, okay? And that means you're going to feel productive, right? Because you're doing all these things. You're going to turn that pain into progress. See, the busyness that you feel kind of starts feeling like control, right? So you're like, oh, I'm busy, I'm in control. What's really going down is that you're convincing yourself that you are busy and that you are getting things done, right? And you might actually be busy, right? But you're not actually getting the right things done. You're doing too much and burying yourself, and the progress is slowing down because of that. So what does that lead to? That leads into a trap. You're continuously validating yourself because of all the work that you're doing. So you have this NDO mindset, right? No days off mindset. It's almost like a culture that you start to create, especially in the US and the East Coast. If you guys are on the East Coast, that we have this hustle culture, like hustle and bustle and go, go, go. That turns into a trap, and the progress that you make is far slower, if not backwards. And you start thinking, damn, like I'm putting in all this effort, I'm getting frustrated, I'm getting discouraged, and it's just not paying off. So let's get into why it's not paying off, right? So the hidden cost of more, what does this mean? Let's break it down. System saturation, right? So this is what I was saying before, right? You're constantly building up fatigue, decision fatigue, right? Because the decisions you're constantly having to make every single day, which also leads to chronic stress and nervous system overload. And this is almost like a convergence in a sense, right? So all these things converge and it just becomes this overwhelming doubt, anxiety, stress. And that's the last thing we want, right? We're trying to achieve a transformation. We want to keep cortisol levels low. We want to keep testosterone high. And if we're suppressing cortisol, then our testosterone will be able to flourish. Right? The entire point is that you don't want to overload yourself because it's just going to lead to unnecessary stress and a ton of fatigue that's just going to carry over every single week. And eventually you're just going to burn out and you're never going to get the transformation you want because you don't have the energy and your hormones are tanked and you're going to give in to cravings and whatever else. The negative return on investment, right? So everyone wants a positive return on their investment, right? If you're paying someone for a transformation, for mindset coaching, to actually achieve this transformation, you want to make sure it's worth your investment, right? So when you're doing so much work, right? And this is why I always preach like hire a mentor, work with a professional coach, because you'll get a positive return on your investment. With this type of thought process and schedule of doing more, always searching for more, you're going to get diminishing returns. Your effort is going to lead to less results, like I've been saying this whole time, and you're going to have recovery debt, right? And what does that mean? It just means you're going to burn out and you're going to have to recover, and it's almost like you're paying a debt, right? So the more weeks you go with no deload, the more weeks you go without rest days, the more weeks you go without just taking a break, your CNS is going to get more and more fatigued. You're going to build up recovery debt. And what do you think is going to happen? Again, burnout. That's what we're trying to prevent. We want to be optimized. We don't want to be working so hard because 2 weeks into the transformation, you're going to be stuck and you're not going to be able to make any more progress. And what that leads to is internal resistance, right? So you're going to feel off. You're going to slowly eat away at your confidence because you're going to be putting all this fucking work and you're going to be discouraged. You're going to be frustrated and you're going to, because of that, lose confidence in yourself and be like, oh, well, it's not working. It's not going to work for me. The amount of times I hear that on calls is it's wild, right? Because everyone has these limiting beliefs that they can't achieve or they can't they don't have the confidence to do this. It's a limiting belief. Every single person can achieve a transformation. And the more people that are paying for these plastic surgeries, that are paying for these body modification surgeries, if you really just dedicated 1 year of your life, you'd probably achieve the same, if not better result from these surgeries, which it's wild. So we just spoke about effort, right? And too much effort. So the problem isn't the effort, right? It's allocation. It's how you're going to be able to allocate your time properly. So what does that lead to? It's going to lead to misreading the signals that your body's receiving. Essentially, you're going to burn yourself out, right? So your progress isn't going to be linear, right? And we want to keep it as linear as possible. Obviously not long term and not forever, but as long as possible. The other thing that's going to happen is you're going to realize that your output is not leading to improvement. And the reason for that is because you're building up a ton of stress. And that stress is what's causing the progress to get straighter until it just starts declining completely. And that's going to lead to a misplaced focus. So all that time you're dedicating in the gym, it's going to be a ton of volume, right? Ton of sets, tons of reps, tons of time spent in the gym, tons of cardio, right? And you're thinking, oh, like I'm doing all this volume, I'm taking all this action, but you're actually getting less leverage out of it and less time for smarter things, right? Things that are actually going to lead for faster and better progress. At the end of the day, the whole point of this video is really this column right here. Less done correctly will multiply everything, all your results. Less cardio, less working out. It's going to lead to a fresher body, better recovery. You're going to be able to utilize more nutrients and you're not going to burn yourself out. And the progress is going to be consistent. It's going to be linear or as linear as possible. And your hormones are going to go up. Your testosterone is going to improve. Your cortisol will drop and your overall hormones will just be more optimized. And that will lead to a better quality of life, more strength in the gym, the more propensity to put on more muscle. This is also going to lead to more clarity. So there's going to be fewer variables and the feedback is going to be clear because think about how we track data. If there's less data to track, it's easier. The feedback is easier to see versus there's tons and tons of data to track. The feedback is going to be impossible to understand and track. The next step to ensure you're actually progressing is strategic recovery. And what does that mean? It means that our bodies are extremely well at adapting to whatever stimulus that we place on it, right? Let's say we start deadlifting. Week 1, my low back is cooked. Week 2, it's a little bit better. Week 3, it's even better. Week 4, it's not even sore. I need to increase the load. And when it comes to stillness being equal to speed, what I'm really trying to say by that is if you're being patient and really taking your time and understanding the data and the variables, then the speed and consistency of the progress is just going to be that much better. So with dominant simplicity, because I love the word dominant, because every guy should want to dominate life. Like when I had 400 tests, did I want to dominate life? Of course, which has led me to where I'm at now at 900 tests. And I'm probably going to be at 1,000 by the end of the year. Dominant simplicity really breaks down to systems over willpower. And what that means is even on days where you don't feel like you're disciplined or feel motivated, the systems that we put in place will overpower whatever willpower you don't have that day, right? That's why I preach mindset. That's why I preach accountability. That's why we focus on an optimal nutrition and training plan, right? Because that will lead to controlled power. And you know, you see controlled power and you're thinking like, what is this, like some AI generated thing? No, it's not. I've made this myself. What controlled power really breaks down to is, think about it this way. Let's say you're a BJJ black belt, right? And you get into a street fight and you have to control yourself because you know you have the power to kill this person or put this person in the hospital, right? But you have to hold back. That's controlled power, is knowing and having the patience and ability and stoicism as a man to understand that, hey, now's the time to hold back. Now's the time to go crazy. When we're in the gym, we want to be at 100%. When we're outside of the gym, we want to be smart with our choices, right? So less does not mean you're lazy. Less actually means you're smarter. And what I've learned throughout all these processes, and from working with so many physiques and guys that are just completely different body types and metabolisms, is that everyone has the ability to unlock this controlled power and truly dominate life. This is just a sneak peek into the mindset that I teach inside of my system. If you guys actually want to figure out what is the best diet for you, what is the best training protocol for you, what is the best system for you to use to increase your test and increase your progress, to keep it linear, to keep it consistent so that your results are as fast as possible, because we don't want slow results. We want quick results, and we want to lose the weight. We want to increase the test, and we want to put on the muscle as fast as possible. If that sounds like you, stop waiting. Like, the year is almost over. Check out the description, book a call with me, and let's talk. Let's figure out how we can bring this system into your life and actually increase your testosterone, put on a shit ton of muscle, and lose a ton of fat. Let's go, guys. I'm going to keep putting out more value, and stay tuned for the next video. Let's kill it.